Welcome into the college basketball rapid recap show where I'm going to break down all the key matchups from Saturday and Sunday. We're going to go quickly through each game to give you kind of the key little points. We're going to breeze through this. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of what happened in the games and kind of the outlook for the teams, go over to my other video. My full top 25 recap is on this channel as well. It's a great video. I break down everything. It's about an hour long. You can fast forward to whichever matchup you want or whichever top 25 you want, team you want. So check that out. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel to support us, and check out our full podcast that we do a show every single week. We had an episode earlier. We will be doing one on Tuesday. So check all our content out, and thank you guys for the support. Let's jump right into this rapid recap. Start with the top ranked matchup of the weekend, where in the Big 12, the number 2 Houston Cougars took on the number 11 Baylor Bears. It was a thriller in Waco, and it was a tale of two halves. First half, Houston on fire, 60% from the field, knocked down everything they threw up, and they were up 41-25 at the half, but Baylor would battle back. They opened the second half with a 12-0 run. They ended up cutting the lead down to 2 with just a few seconds remaining when Yves Misi gets an and one with just 4.4 remaining. And all of a sudden, when it looked like Baylor had all hope lost, they had a free throw to win the game, but Misi was unable to connect. He missed the free throw. Jamal Shed comes up with the rebound. He dribbles straight down the floor, and he pulls up at the buzzer and nails a three for the win to silence all the crowd in Waco. The Houston bench was going nuts, but wait. They review it, and there is time expiring, and you can see the red light on before Shed gets the three off. It's no good, and we are headed to overtime. Baylor scores the first bucket of overtime. Looks like they might pull away as the crowd is going bonkers, but Houston had an answer every single time. Jawan Roberts was massive. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 6 steals. The big man was amazing in this one, and they win despite a 5 for 19 shooting performance from Jamal Shed. Heck of a win for Houston. Showed a lot of mental toughness. They have the inside track to win the Big 12. Game number 2, our only other ranked matchup. This one was not close. Number 17, Kentucky, looking for a signature win. Routes number 13, Alabama, the first place team in the SEC, 117-95. Yes, you heard that right. 117. That's how much Kentucky put up. They scored 58 in the first half, 59 in the second half. They shot 63% from the floor, 54% from 3, 85% from the free throw line. They knocked down 13 threes, had 5 guys score in double figures. Justin Edwards, the 6'8 freshman out of Philadelphia, had only scored 13 or more 3 times this season. He put up a career-high 28 on 10 of 10 shooting, 4 of 4 from downtown. Fantastic game. Antonio Reeves poured in 24 of his own. Kentucky lit up the scoreboard in Rupp Arena and got a big-time win. We'll see how they respond to that. Alabama still in control of their own destiny to win the SEC in first place, but a heck of a game from Kentucky down in Lexington. Moving on, the number 1 team in the land took on Villanova, and it was a dominating performance by the Huskies. 78-54 win for UConn. Saw this one coming. They lost their last time out at Creighton. They came out pissed. Cam Spencer, man, he's something else. The transfer from Rutgers. He started his career at Loyola, Maryland. 25 points on 9 of 13 shooting, 5 of 9 from downtown, 4 rebounds and 4 assists. It's not even fair having him and Tristan Newton in the backcourt. It's almost impossible to stop both of them. You add in a lottery pick in Stephon Castle, and UConn is the best team in the country, hands down. Nobody is better than UConn. Houston and Purdue are very good teams, but this Huskies team is for real. Tough loss for Nova. They were in the next 4 out going into this one. I don't think that losing by 25 is going to help you get into the tournament. They do have 3 quad 1 opportunities left at Providence, at Seton Hall, versus Creighton. Big games coming up. Number 4, Arizona bounces back at home against Washington, coming off their first home loss of the season, getting swept in the season series by Washington State. Number 21, Washington State, that is. They shot 43% from beyond the arc. This game was never in doubt. They dominated Washington. They win it by 16. 4 starters for Arizona score 14 or more points. Caleb Love was fantastic, 28, 7, and 5 assists. Pele Larson added 17, and Omar Ballo had 14 of his own. good bounce back for the Wildcats as they take care of business at home over the Huskies. Number 5, Tennessee. They look like one of the best teams in the country. They get a win by 35, 86-51 over the Aggies at Texas A&M. Dominating win by the Vols. They look like one of the most complete teams in the country. Ziegler at point guard. He's been fantastic, starting to look like his old self after the injury. Dalton Connect is one of the best players, if not the best player in the country. He's a bona fide superstar. He's going to be a top draft pick. Then you have a big man in Jonas Adu, who's a star as well. And you have a complete team. You round it out with a couple of guys who can shoot it, and Santiago Vescovi as well. And so Tennessee routs A&M. Tough loss for the Aggies. They were looking like a sure tournament team after beating Tennessee 5 games ago. They've lost 4 straight, including dropping one to Vanderbilt and Arkansas, 2 of the bottom teams in the SEC. They're now on the outside looking in. Going to be tough for the Aggies to get in. Dalton Connect had 24 in this one. He was outstanding. Iowa State, number 6, takes on West Virginia in Ames, Iowa. And despite being a 17.5-point favorite, Iowa State not able to run away with this one, but it was never in doubt. 71-64 for the Cyclones over West Virginia. West Virginia shot the ball extremely well, 50% from the floor, 42% from 3, but it wasn't enough as Iowa State turned over West Virginia not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 23 times. And Iowa State cruises to a 7-point victory. Iowa State is for real, folks. They are fantastic. I think they deserve to be a number 2 seed. Great point guard in Taman Lipsey. They can score it this year. This is the first time I've seen an Iowa State team who can score the ball. They're usually great defensively. They're great defensively this year, but they actually have a team who can shoot it, who can score it. It's going to make them dangerous come March. Number 8 goes down to Wake Forest, 83-79. Huge win for Wake Forest. Hunter Salas will pick it up late where he was fantastic, absolute star. He was 11-13 for 29 points, 5 triples. Andrew Carr, the big man for the Demon Deacons, dropped 18 points as well. But again, late in the game, Wake Forest with a 5-point lead and the ball, and all they have to do is hold it. But Hunter Salas, who was great, as I mentioned, tries to throw an alley-oop pass with 55 seconds to go. He turns it over. Filipowski the other way, buries a 3 for Duke, and all of a sudden it looked like the game was over, and now Duke has a 2-point game. They get a stop because there was 43 seconds to go. They were able to play it out. Duke now has the ball with a chance to win it late in the game, but unfortunately Tyrese Proctor, who was fantastic in the game, turned the ball over. He threw it out of bounds. Duke was forced to foul. Wake wins, and the Deeks get it done. Signature win might get them into the tournament. Joe Lunardi currently has them as his last team out of the field. I don't understand that. They should be in. The court was stormed in Wake Forest and Winston-Salem, and Kyle Filipowski supposedly twisted his ankle. Did he try to hit the fan? Did the fan hit him? I don't know what happened. The court stormings can be dangerous, but they're a big part of college basketball. It makes the sport unique. Maybe we change the rule. Who knows? Don't want to ban them, but you do want to protect the players. Wake Forest, nonetheless, big-time win. Tough loss for Duke on the road. They battled. Jared McCain for Duke is a star. He's an absolute stud. Big-time shot after big-time shot for the freshman, shooting over 40% from 3 on the year. Kansas, number 9, dominates Texas at home at Allen Fieldhouse. Rodney Terry, once again, showing he has no idea what he's doing. 86-67, a 19-point rout, and they didn't even have their best player and leading scorer, Kevin McCullough, out there. The Longhorns were dominated in this one, and one NCAA tournament run with a very talented team might save Rodney Terry from getting fired for 3 more years, but it's coming sooner rather than later. Moving on, after that Kansas win, we'll look at the number 10 team in the country, where the North Carolina Tar Heels had the longest road losing streak to a single team in program history to Virginia, but they snapped it on Saturday with a 54-44 win over the Hoos, and they improve to 7-2 on the road in conference play. They've been outstanding on the road, although they did drop 2 of their last 3 before going in and beating Virginia. This was a low-scoring affair. Virginia struggles to score. They scored under 50 points once again for the third straight outing, and it cost them only 44 points put up by UVA. It was a 54-44 victory for North Carolina. Cormac Ryan poured in 18, and he didn't even make a two-pointer. He was 6 of 11 from three. Before this game, he was 32% on the season. Big confidence boost for him. They needed it because R.J. Davis was 1 of 14. He couldn't buy a basket. Armando Bacot had just 10 points, but UNC finds a way to win a low-scoring, grinded-out game. They played great defense. Virginia looking like an early exit NCAA tournament team. UNC looking like a real contender. Number 12, Illinois defeats Iowa 95-85, covers the number as a 9.5-point favorites. This was a close one all the way through until the final 5 minutes. In fact, Iowa actually led after the first TV timeout by 4 in the second half, but late in the game, Coleman Hawkins took over the game, scored 7 points in the last 3 minutes of the game, sealed the game for them at the free throw line, finishing with 30 points. 9 of 11 shooting, 3 triples. He was really, really good in this game. Also had 5 steals, and he makes up for costing them the Penn State game in their last outing where he missed 2 free throws down the stretch and then fouled a 3-point shooter late in the game. Terrence Shannon added 12. Justin Harmon, 12 off the bench. Iowa not going to make the tournament this year. Illinois, though, looking to be a top 3 seed. Number 14, Auburn dominates Georgia 97-76 on the road. Tigers, another dominating performance. Georgia has fallen off the map after a 4-2 start in conference play. They're 1-7 in their last 8. They have really, really struggled. The Tigers improved to 10-4 in conference play, pick up their 21st win of the season. They're 21-6. Chad Baker-Mazara, the 6'7" guard out of the Dominican Republic, led them in scoring with 25 points, 2 triples, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Janai Broome, the player of the year candidate in the SEC, was outstanding as well. 16 points, 13 rebounds, 2 blocks. 4 different starters for Auburn scored 15 or more points in the game. And this Auburn team can score. It's the first time Bruce Pearl has had a team with both the offense and the defense in the top 15 in adjusted efficiency. They're 15th in the country offensively. They're first in the country defensively, and that gives Auburn a chance to make a real Final Four run and try to replicate what they did back in 2019, back with Jared Harper. I really like Auburn. I think they're a Final Four caliber team. We'll see if they can make that run. Huge game next week as the Tigers take on Tennessee in Knoxville. That's going to be a game they have to win if they want to have a shot to win the SEC. They're currently a game back of Tennessee and Alabama in the SEC. Number 18, St. Mary's wins easily over San Diego, 88-62. They improved to 14-0 in the West Coast Conference, one of the weirdest teams in the country. They started off the season 3-5. They lost to Weber State. They lost by 25 at home to San Diego State. They got beat by Xavier by 20. And since then, since they've lost 5 of their first 8, they are 17-1 overall, 14-0 in conference. They beat Gonzaga at home. They beat Gonzaga on the road. They beat Colorado State at Colorado State. This team is playing really good basketball. They've struggled in the tournament as of late. Can they find a way to get some NCAA tournament victories under their belt this year and break through like Gonzaga has done in the past? We'll find out soon. Aiden Mahaney, the leading scorer. He's been great all season. He'll have to lead the way for the Gales. Number 19, San Diego State takes care of business at home against Fresno State. They win it by 32. Jared Ledee leads the way for the Aztecs. That's no surprise. He's been the best player all year, returning from last year's Final Four and national championship team. 22 points, 8 of 11 shooting, 11 rebounds in this game for Ledee. Added 3 blocks as well. They're not a Final Four contender this year, but they can make a run to the Sweet 16. Very, very talented team still. The Mountain West standings are crazy. San Diego State is tied for second place right now in the loss column behind Utah State and Boise State. There are 5 teams separated by 1 game in the loss column. That is coming down to the stretch. Number 20, South Carolina defeats Ole Miss 72-59. The offense for South Carolina was led by B.J. Mack, who had 17, including 3 trebles, but it was the defense that was impressive. They held Ole Miss to a season-low 59 points. The lowest they had scored all season was 59, but this is the lowest they've scored by far at home in any game. Great outing. Really tough loss for the Rebels. They were 3.5-point favorites in this one. Dropping this does them no favors. They are likely going to miss the NCAA tournament. South Carolina, on the other hand, needed this after a 2-game losing streak. They lost one at home last Saturday after blowing a 17-point second-half lead to LSU. Big bounce back here. This South Carolina team, I think, has been disrespected all year. They're a very, very good basketball team. They play fantastic defense. I think they're going to make a good run in the NCAA tournament. Main issue for the Gamecocks closing out their season. Tough schedule at A&M versus Florida versus Tennessee at Mississippi State. 2-2 would be good in that stretch, but we'll move on here. Number 21, Washington State gets upset by Arizona State. This was a letdown spot for the Cougars after a program-defining win last game against Arizona in Arizona. They had a letdown here. They did not shoot the ball well. 3 of 18 from downtown, 39% from the floor as a whole. Arizona State shot out of their mind. They're not a very good shooting team. 43% from beyond the arc, 50% as a team from the entire field. They never do that. So tough game for Washington State, but the Cougs dropped that one. Good thing for the Cougars, they close out the year with 3 consecutive home games, so they'll be just fine. Number 22, Colorado State falls to UNLV 76-70. Colorado State once again blows a first-half lead. They led at halftime. This is the 5th time this season they've done it in conference play. 4th time on the road, and that includes a 16-point halftime lead at San Diego State, where they followed it up with just 11 total points in the second half and lost that game by double digits. Were run out of the gym in the second half. They also lost the game at Wyoming, where they led by 10 points with 1 minute remaining. Talk about a bad beat. I like this Colorado State team. Not sure they're going to be able to win a couple games in the NCAA tournament. Isaiah Stevens is a stud point guard, but they don't close out games well. You have to be able to close out games in the NCAA tournament with a lot of pressure on you. Crazy, though. Colorado State is a really good team, and they are actually 7th in their own conference in the Mountain West. That's how good the Mountain West has been this year. UNLV, on the other hand, what a big-time win. They get this win. They're trying to get in the NCAA tournament. They're probably going to have to win the Mountain West Conference tournament, though, to get in. Number 23, Texas Tech drops one to Central Florida. On the road, 61-75, bad showing for Tech. Pop Isaacs, 3 of 12 from the field, 1 of 8 from downtown. Did not play well. I don't know what this Tech team is. 3-5 in their last 8. They've struggled on the road, lost 4 straight road games, barely escaped with a win against TCU at home a few nights ago. I don't know if this Tech team is much better than a first weekend team. Number 24, Florida is better than a first weekend team. They beat Vandy 77-64. Jerry Stackhouse probably deserves to be fired. He's been horrific this year. The team has definitely quit on him. They have 2 conference wins. They are 7-20, and with a loss to Presbyterian on their record, they've been horrible. Fire Jerry Stackhouse. On the other hand, Florida, one of the hottest teams in the country. They've been fantastic as of late. They have a complete team. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Their lone losses came in by 1 point at Texas A&M and by 5 points at number 1 in the SEC, Alabama. This is a team that could make a deep tournament run that people are not talking enough about. Last one in the top 25, number 25, BYU, upset by Kansas State. Arthur Kaluma was great for K-State, 28 points for the Creighton transfer. And Kansas State upsets number 25, BYU. BYU, tough loss. They rely way too much on the three-point line. They were horrible in this one from downtown, 6 for 31, 19%. And they are going to be an early exit team if they can't find the range in the tournament in back-to-back games. On Sunday, we had 3 top 25 teams in action. Purdue dominates, let's not say dominates, beats Michigan, but led the entirety of the way. They improved to 25-3, 14-3 in conference play. Zach Edey, 35 points, 15 rebounds, 14 of 18 from the floor. He's going to win another Player of the Year in the Big Ten and a National Player of the Year as well. Purdue, it's all about the tournament, baby. You're a good regular season team. They definitely shoot the ball better this year. Can they do it in the tournament? If they can, well, they're going to be going to the Final Four and have a chance to win a national championship. If not, they're going to be losing to Fairleigh Dickinson again in the first round. Moving on to the next ranked matchup, number 7, Marquette improves to 21-6, 12-4 in Big East play. They take down Xavier 88-64, dominating fashion. They're a top 10 team. They're going to be a 2 or a 3 seed. Whether or not they can actually win in the tournament, I don't know. But one thing I have to mention, Cam Jones. He's been incredible in the past 2 games. Back-to-back games with 34 points. That's right, 34 points in 2 straight games, and he did it in each game in less than 28 minutes. He scored 68 points in the last 2 games, and he did it in a total of 50 minutes. He's been scoring at an absurd rate, 72% from the field, 70% from three-point range, 14 of 20 in the last 2 games. And his effective field goal percentage is 94%. He's been playing out of his mind. That's like when you're on a heater in Vegas. You never leave the table when you're on a heater. And if I am Cam Jones, I am launching next game until my heater stops. Tyler Kolek chipped in 11 points. Marquette's got a complete team. I just don't know that they can beat a top tier team in the NCAA tournament. Last ranked game on Sunday, St. John's pulls the upset over ranked Creighton once again. Fade the team off the big win. Creighton upsets number 1 UConn at home. What do they do the next game? Big letdown spot. St. John's with the outright upset of Creighton. Dennis Jenkins, St. John's leading scorer, was phenomenal. 27 points, 18 to 16 shooting, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Rick Pitino says his team can't throw bounce passes, but they sure as shit can make jump shots. They were great tonight, and they got the win. Rick Pitino is a sleazeball. Get that stupid white Armani suit off you. It looks ridiculous. St. John's with a big win, although they are not going to make the tournament. We're going to run through quickly the non-conference or the non-ranked teams. Georgia Tech on Saturday defeated Miami 80-76. Miami has quit on this season. They put up just 36 points against Virginia a few weeks ago. It's been ugly. I don't understand that they have 2 NBA picks. One guy is a lottery pick in Keyshawn George. They've been horrible. Syracuse holds off a furious rally from Notre Dame to pull out an 88-85 victory. Some people who are ACC fans say Syracuse is going to get into the tournament. They're out of their mind. There's no chance. They are 9-8 in ACC play. The ACC sucks this year. Penn State beats Indiana 83-74. Penn State, the Nittany Lions, are playing much better as of late. Indiana has been disappointing this season. Neither team going to the NCAA tournament. Speaking of drastically disappointing, Arkansas, coming off of a couple of deep tournament runs, 14-13 this year. They do defeat Missouri 88-73 on Saturday. Missouri, can they do it? 0-14 in conference play. They're going for a winless season, and they've got a legit chance to do it. At Florida versus Ole Miss versus Auburn and at LSU are their final 4 games. I am hoping that they can make history in the SEC and go 0-18. NC State beats Boston College 81-70 to keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. I'm not quite sure if they are going to make it. I believe they're on the outside looking in. TCU destroys Cincinnati 75-57. Cincy had not been blown out many times this season, but they lost a ton of close games. TCU torches them. Emmanuel Miller drops 18 Jacoby goals, 18 off the bench. TCU has some dudes, and they are deep. They can make a dangerous run in the NCAA tournament. Oklahoma State, rivalry. And what happens in Bedlam? Oklahoma State always gets screwed. That's what happened in this one, where the Oklahoma Sooners trailed by 1 with just a few seconds to go. It looked like the game was going to slip away from OU, and it was going to be a very, very bad loss. However, Javion McCollum from downtown at the buzzer hits a dagger, and the Pokes are heartbroken in Stillwater. Over to the Mountain West, huge upset where I didn't even see this coming. Nobody saw this coming. I don't know if God saw this coming. The Air Force Falcons go into the pit and beat New Mexico. What in the world? This is an Air Force team that lost by 30 to UNLV at home the other night. And yet, what happened in this one? Well, of course, it came down to a game-winning 3, and Petritis, the Russian hammer, I don't even know if he's Russian, but he knocked down a 3 at the buzzer to put a dagger in the hearts of the New Mexico fans. I think New Mexico's still going to get in, but this is a bad loss. New Mexico tends to do this down the stretch. They did it last year and missed the tournament. I hope the Lobos get in because I love seeing the Lobos in the NCAA tournament. Pittsburgh defeats Virginia Tech 79-64. That might have ended VT's NCAA tournament bid. Pittsburgh fans think they're getting into the tournament. They are not. No chance. Moving on, Georgetown beats DePaul 77-76 in the final few seconds. Poor DePaul. They can't buy one. Speaking of winless teams in conference, they are 0-16. This was their only shot to get a win against Ed Cooley, the traitor of Providence, Benedict Arnold Jr. himself, and yet Georgetown and the Devil pull it out. Cal beats Oregon 69-64. Don't look now, but Cal has a winning record in the Pac-12. Bad loss for Oregon. If they want to get into the NCAA tournament. They need to pick things up in the last few games and make a nice little run in the Pac-12 tournament. Boise State disposes of Wyoming and Laramie 92-72, 20-point victory for the Broncos. I stopped looking at Boise State a few weeks ago because they struggled midway through Mountain West play. But guess what? The Boise State Broncos are tied for first place in the Mountain West. That's right, boys. First place in the Mountain West. Clemson gets a home win over Florida by 11, 74-63. I'm sorry, over Florida State. Clemson, I saw Lenardi has projected as a 5 seed in the tournament. I do not understand that. This should be an 8 seed. This is a team who's 9-7 in the ACC. They're not even very good in their own conference, and their own conference is like the 6th best conference in the country. Yes, I'm saying that. The Mountain West is better than the ACC because it is. So I do think Clemson gets in. If they're a 5 seed, that would be ridiculous. Seton Hall is on the bubble. They beat Butler 76-64. Butler has slid all the way off the map. 5 of their last 6 they've lost. Seton Hall is probably going to get into the tournament, but they're just incredibly average, and I don't want them to because Shaheen Holloway annoys me. Mississippi State gets a big win at LSU, 87-67. They improved to 19-8, 8-6 in SEC play. LSU was playing some pretty good basketball before that last. They had pulled off back-to-back upsets, but Mississippi State said, not so fast, my friend. They were ringing the cowbells. Hail State. Colorado, Utah. Colorado wins 89-65 as 7-point favorites. We saw lots of professional steam on the Colorado Buffaloes, and they do it at home. KJ Simpson, the possible player of the year in the Pac-12, 28 points, 10 of 15 from the floor. Cody Williams, I just don't see it. How is he projected at the number 1 overall pick? He had 4 points in this matchup. What? Please, 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 San Antonio, don't get the number 1 overall pick. Somebody else take this kid. I do not want him. UCLA loses to USC. That's embarrassing. USC had not won a road game all conference play. In fact, they had lost every road game they played by at least 7 points. USC's horrible. Andy Enfield, how does he still have a job? If he keeps his job at the end of this year, that means that he definitely has some blackmail dirt on the AD at USC. Otherwise, it makes absolutely zero sense. Mick Cronin, the angry little Irishman, is not going to the NCAA tournament this year. He's going to have to get red-faced screaming at officials in the NIT. Gonzaga beat Santa Clara 94-81, avenging their loss back at Santa Clara early in January. Moving on to Sunday, quickly, the games that we had on Sunday. South Florida, number 1 in their conference in the American, with a big win over third place SMU. And guess what? South Florida is going to win the regular season title. Yes, that's right. South Florida is going to win the American. Yet somehow they're not going to get an at-large bid. It makes absolutely no sense. They have to win the conference tournament to get in. Why? I'm so tired of this. Why do we put a bad team at the bottom of the ACC in over a team like South Florida, who's played great in conference play and beaten some good teams? South Florida win over SMU. SMU, worst free throw shooting team I've ever seen in my entire life. Jesus, that was ugly. They gave Virginia this 1 for 11 a run for their money. They were 50%, 14 for 28. FAU falls once again at Memphis. Can Memphis get in? Definitely not. They don't deserve it. Can FAU get in? Yes, but they better stop dropping games that they shouldn't drop. This FAU team is nothing like they were last season. This is what happens when you play real teams in the regular season and not playing Western Kentucky and fucking North Texas every single night. Talent-wise, FAU should get in, probably will get in. Memphis probably will not. Nebraska continues its home dominance in the Big Ten, routing Minnesota, who's trying to get into the big dance. Not a good win, not a good loss for Minnesota, but Nebraska undefeated at home in Big Ten play, and they were fantastic. Rick Mass was great. They've got some great guard play. They can shoot at that place in Lincoln going nuts. I can't wait for Nebraska to play in the tournament. My Huskers are going to find a way to get a dub in the NCAA tournament. They're a Sweet 16 team. Book it. Last but not least, the Ohio State Buckeyes upset Michigan State at home. That's right. Ohio State, who had lost 17 straight road games, playing at East Lansing against Michigan State and the legend, Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo called one of the officials a fucker in the game. I saw it. If you ever see him talking to officials, he usually calls them names. But Michigan State looked like they were going to go to overtime, but then Matt Bonner, the reincarnation of Matt Bonner, the black Matt Bonner, hit a buzzer-beating 3, and the Buckeyes take down the Spartans in East Lansing. Tough loss for Sparty. Their tournament draft stock is dropping. They went from a 7 seed a couple weeks ago. They have dropped back-to-back home games to teams who are not in the tournament in Iowa and Ohio State. And all of a sudden, the Spartans might be a 10 seed once again, a place Izzo is not unfamiliar the last couple of years. That's my rapid recap of all the major college basketball games of this weekend. Hope you enjoyed the recap. Tried to give it to you as quickly and as straight as possible with providing a little bit of entertainment. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, comment, tell me what you like, what you didn't like. Have a great week. I'll catch you next time.